Good evening, everyone. Welcome to 5 by 5. I appreciate everybody showing up today. This will be our part 2 in the series, Is Your Child Safe? If you missed part 1, I implore you to go watch it on the channel. You'll find it listed if you just go look. I'm again pleased to introduce Michelle Lynch. She's the co-founder and president of the Child Protection League. I'm just going to go ahead and say it now. This show is not suitable for children. And like before, I'm going to take a back seat and let Michelle have the floor because this is what she does and this is why she's here. So Michelle, would you like to say hello and introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Laura. And thanks to 5 by 5 for giving me another opportunity to talk with your listeners and viewers. So the Child Protection League is an organization that was started in Minnesota about 6 years ago. And we work to protect children from indoctrination, exploitation, and violence. We work mainly in the areas of public policy because that's where a lot of fires are started. It's where a lot of trouble in the war on children is coming from, is in public policy, school policy, state policy, and such. And I will share my screen here. There we go. And so I'm the president of this organization, but that doesn't really mean anything. We're just a group of people who are really dedicated to the mission of protecting children. And so we do that by educating the public, activating the public, engaging with the public, so that the public will engage with policymakers and voice their opinion, hopefully make positive change for policies that protect children instead of put them at risk. So tonight, it's a topic that is difficult for me to undertake because the research in databases that expose children to obscene material is, it's not fun research. And yet it's a real threat to children. And so tonight we are going to talk about one particular school district in Minnesota, and I'll explain why we're focusing on one, but mainly we're focusing on an organization, a company named EBSCO, and they provide, as you can see in this graphic, all of those icons around that center icon. They provide a number of free or subscription-based research databases to schools. So schools can tell their children, okay, you log on to EBSCO and then you go do your research, for whatever project you're working on. And the library systems in most states also use EBSCO services. And so they provide all kinds of free content to the libraries and to the schools in exchange for this subscription to the EBSCO database. Now, I want to point out something, that the EBSCO database is proprietary. So schools say, hey, when your kid is at school or they're, doing research on the internet, or they're on the internet, we have filters that protect them from being exposed to things. But the stuff that is in the EBSCO database does not get filtered out because it bypasses the school filter system. It's its own proprietary content on an EBSCO platform. And so by doing it that way, the school filters don't block it out. And there's a number of organizations that have proven this. So what I want to do tonight is tell you a story about what we're dealing with here in Minnesota, and show you the proof that when we went into the EBSCO data research databases, and we put in certain terms, some of them rather benign, like toy industry, some of them a little bit more explicit, like gay sex. But even, you might think like, well, my elementary school, my fifth grader isn't going to go on the internet and type in gay sex. I'm not sure that's true, but it doesn't matter because the schools say that they protect their children who are enrolled in those schools from that content. So whether it's, something that they would likely look up or not, we expect the schools to protect, like they say they are, children from that content. And I'm going to show you how that's just not the case. There is a nationwide organization that's pretty, they're really dependable. They do good, credible work. They're called the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. And so on this slide, you'll see the web address, and that's their homepage. They have a project that they've been working on for the last 5 years that they call the Dirty Dozen list. And they go after companies that are not kid friendly, that are not protecting children from content. You can expect that TikTok is on there, and a number of other entities, and EBSCO is on there. And so if I read to you what it says on this slide right now, it says, and I might have to take my glasses off, EBSCO Information Services offers online library resources to public and private schools, K through 12, colleges, universities, public libraries, and more. In its advertising for schools, it promises fast access to curriculum-appropriate content. However, its Explora, Science Reference Center, Library Reference Center, and other products sometimes provide easy access to hardcore pornography and extremely graphic sexual content. So that's what the National Center on Sexual Exploitation says about EBSCO. This is also from their website. Let's see. But I'll just skip past that one. sorry, this page is off of their website. They showed that there was an article that came up in the database when people did a certain search term that had a link in the article that took children to a Russian porn site. And that's a graphic of that site. You can see Explora is up in the left-hand corner, showing that that article is actually within the database of EBSCO. Okay, so what happened in Minnesota, now on our YouTube channel, we have another video that explains research that we have done into EBSCO in Minnesota. And then we decided to send a FOIA request, a data practices request, to Anoka Hennepin School District, which is the largest school district in Minnesota. They have about 40,000 children enrolled. And we, so this letter is the letter that we sent to Anoka Hennepin, and I just want to read the pertinent fact of our request. It says, under Minnesota Data Practices Act 13.01, I am requesting an opportunity to inspect or obtain copies of public records of Anoka Hennepin School District that contain information about any contracts you have with or had with EBSCO up to the present day, the dollar amount of that the district paid to EBSCO or their affiliates, the time frame of each contract, and the renewal period, and what part of the budget that came from. 5 items we were requesting there. After some time, we got a letter back from EBSCO, from Anoka Hennepin, saying, I'm following up with your letter dated April 29th, and see below relevant data. And so this is what they say. EBSCO Digital Magazine subscription renewals are yearly. Subscription at Roosevelt Middle School purchase 2019-2020. And EBSCO Digital Magazine subscription yearly at Jackson Middle School. So I requested 5 things. They gave me info on 2 schools, right? And we said BS. So what we did was we went to the website on every school in Anoka Hennepin. There's 40, I think there was 42 schools. 38 of the 42 schools have EBSCO EdTech services offered right on their e-resources page. So the spreadsheet that's in this slide, doesn't matter that you see the details of it, but we had to get the proof of that. So they told us about 2 schools. We proved that they have EBSCO products at 38 of the 42 schools that they have. So let's take a look. And what I started to do then was to go to a number of these school websites and go through the process of doing research through their website. I picked 2 elementary, 2 middle school, and 2 high school. So the first school we went to was Andover Elementary, and you can see you maybe can't read it, it's kind of small font, but in the red circle there, it says e-resources. So you go to Andover Elementary, you're looking at academics, and you get this research page that tells you e-resources are provided by the district's media services department. Now notice that they didn't tell us, and they didn't offer us, what jerks, they didn't offer us any info. They just sent us something probably hoping we would go away. And so once you click on the e-resources, you can see in the red arrow is Explora right there. That's an EBSCO product. Now, that link took me to the Anoka Hennepin Schools District website.
So basically what you're saying is they're directing you there.
Yeah, all of the school websites either had their own login page that required a password, or they took you to the district page. So in this case, when we clicked on the EBSCO product, I'm just showing you the previous page is the Anoka Hennepin, and you can see the top of the page, and now you're seeing the bottom of the page. And what I wanted to point out under EBSCO host, which is the primary search engine for EBSCO, it says, hey, if you can't log in, just go to eLibrary Minnesota. So they're giving you that option. If you don't have your password, you can't, figure out how to log in, to go to the eLibrary system. But you notice that Anoka Hennepin has clearly has an EBSCO subscription, because otherwise they wouldn't have this page requiring you to sign in with your school ID and password. And this came up on every site that we tried. So we know that they have these subscriptions. I don't know why they didn't tell us that their district has this subscription. Instead, they say that these 2 middle schools have a subscription. But clearly, the Anoka Hennepin School District must have this subscription.
Well,
so
we'll
be setting up an appointment to go meet with the superintendent and ask him these questions and share our concerns. Okay, so because I didn't have the login information, I had to go to the eLibrary link. And when I clicked on the primary link search, it took me to this page where the arrow is pointing, saying a problem occurred, log in again. Well, obviously I don't have the login. I want you to know, on the video that I did that's on the Child Protection League's YouTube channel, we did get the login information from a parent. And we do show that even if you go through the student's login, you still access this stuff. Okay, so we had to use the eLibrary system. So now that's redirecting us a little bit to the State Department of Education, which also contracts with EBSCO, and they provide EBSCO services to all of the public libraries. And so all citizens in the state of Minnesota who have a library card have access to this eLibrary system. And so I just want to explain to you what that is, and make you aware that your state probably uses the same thing. I looked at a couple of other states and what these other organizations that Colorado Porn is Not Education, that organization found it in Colorado and other states, and then the National Center on Sexual Exploitation obviously found it in other states too. The electronic library from Minnesota is called the ELM, and I'll just read to you what it says on the Minnesota Department of Education website. It says ELM is an online resource that gives Minnesota residents access to reputable and respected sources of information. Here you'll find magazine, journals, newspapers, encyclopedia articles, blah, blah, blah. All available 24/7 from school, home, work, or at your library. Whoops. I'm going to move a screen here so I can read this. I just want to point out on this slide that they say Explorer Kids contains elementary school appropriate. So when I show you what I'm going to show you, please remember that I am showing you what the Minnesota Department of Education and all of these schools and Anoka Hennepin and EBSCO are all saying is elementary school appropriate magazines, encyclopedias, articles, blah, blah, blah.
And didn't, again, this time you had to blur stuff out, even to bring it on this YouTube channel. Did you say you blurred some images out just because they were too graphic for you? Yeah. Yeah. Just remember, we're blurring it out for adults, and this is what they're saying is appropriate for elementary schools when she gets there. And I'll shut back. Get back in the corner.
Yeah, you know, some of these pictures are going to show sex toys, and so those are not blurred out. But I'll skip past them quick. But there's not pictures of graphic sex and stuff like that. Because that's what kids are going to see, but that's not what I'm going to show you tonight. Is that okay, Laura?
Yeah. I think the
Okay.
craziest part is that we're blurring it. We're blurring most of the stuff
I
out to
know,
show adults, and
to
they're
show
showing your
adults.
kids. And I have to make sure that I stress. And this video, by the way, is rated 18 or over. That I have to stress to make sure that you get your kids out of the room while she tells you what they're showing your kids in school. So
Yeah,
just
what they're not protecting them from, for sure.
Mhm.
I mean, they are showing them this kind of stuff in sex ed, but they tell us that their school filters protect kids from online porn. I'm going to show you tonight how within this database, within the Gale database, we found stuff that takes you to Playboy. So whatever. On this tab, or on this slide, I just want you to see that it says elementary under student research to show you that we're in the elementary tab. And then Explora Kids is where we're going to go next. But notice that where it says middle school and high school, those are hot links. So an elementary school child, might be instructed, go to the elementary tab, but they can still go and click on the high school search tab.
It's kind of like telling a kid, don't do this, but giving them like, here's the chocolate bar. They sit
Yeah,
it out in front of
yeah.
them and say, don't touch it, but I'm going to leave for 30 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know if they even tell them not to, but I mean, you saw what I saw on the Anoka Hennepin website where it said if you can't log in, just go to eLibrary. Okay, so this is what the Explora page looks like. And, it's kid friendly, okay. So we typed in gay sex. I am appalled that this is still on EBSCO's website. We're in the elementary tab. We type in gay sex, and the first article that comes up is this one. Davey Wavy's Sex Ed, the YouTube star wants to teach the world about gay sex. Okay. So you click on that article. And within that article, which the article itself is inappropriate, it's not appropriate for children, especially elementary. But in the article, they give you his web address. They put the URL for this guy's website. Now, maybe a kid doesn't know how to copy that and put it in a browser window. It's not a hot link. I'll give them credit for that it's not hot, because some of these links are. This is the website that it takes you to, and I won't take you any further than this. It says you got to be 18 to enter, but all you got to do is click that enter button. And once you click on that enter button, it takes you to a page where videos are streaming showing gay sex. I mean, you don't even have to hit play. It was bad enough I had to go to it once.
Basically, you're talking pornography.
It's pornography. It's pornography. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. If it wasn't pornography, you wouldn't have to be 18 years old to click on that. But of course, there's no age verification. There's no blocking it. So anyway, I'm appalled because enough of us have exposed this that EBSCO still has this on, and that it continually shows up in the elementary search in the #1 article when you type in that search term. I think on this one, I typed in bondage, and this article comes up on BDSM. It's an elementary search database. The school filters are not filtering this out. And this article is all on BDSM. So then we went to Monroe Elementary, and once again, it's the same thing. You can see that it says e-resources are provided by the district's media service department. Takes you to the Explora page, and it says if you can't log on, go to eLibrary. So we went to eLibrary again, and this time we just typed in sex. And you'll see that what I'm showing you here is the 11th item. Why I went to sex school and why you should too. Now, this article is actually pro-sex ed, but the title of that article is so misleading. I just thought I had to point it out, even though it's an article that's just pro-sex ed. sex positive, sex education. Is that appropriate for elementary?
Not the elementary school I'm used to. Just like you said
Okay.
before, sex ed is not like what you thought it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's not what we grew up on. Okay, going a little further down the list of articles, this article comes up. Perfect in bed, demanding sexual perfection can destroy your sex life. Hollywood sex therapist murdered, fatal obsession. And the 7 most common sexual fantasies your darkest desire may not be as strange as you think. Appropriate for elementary?
That was on the elementary one too. Oh my. Okay, I'm gonna shut up now.
Yep. So this is that article that says the 7 most common sexual fantasies. I just want you to see what shows up. When you clicked on that article, that's that picture on the upper left is the first page of the article. And then you scroll down and it basically describes a number of different sexual fantasies and then a poll that they took. And then I just want to point out, this one pull quote from the article that says, many fantasies people perceive as strange or scary are actually quite ordinary. That's fine for you and me to read that. I just don't know if that's fine for an elementary school kid to come across. All right, so now we go into middle school. So elementary, what, K through 4th grade? I mean, when I was a kid, it was K through 6th grade. Now we're in middle school, so maybe we're 5th to 8th grade. So what is that, 9 to 13-year-olds? Once again, Jackson Middle School has the e-resources link. And that took us to the Anoka Hennepin page again. And they're listing on this page, it showed up a little differently, but on this page, they're actually showing all of the EBSCO products. And they say Anoka Hennepin students and staff can log in here, or if you can't, over on the right, it says go to eLibrary. So if you tried to log in, it takes you to this EBSCO host page, and I didn't, you got to have the login. But I want you to know that this next search that we do then is from the Monroe Middle School website link. Okay, so this time we typed in sex toys. And I don't know, for some reasons, EBSCO thinks it's perfectly fine for middle school kids to get all kinds of information, graphic pictures of sex toys. So,
well, look at the title, from filthy to healthy. Why would you not want to teach your children anything but healthy?
And this is the first article that comes up if you type in sex toys. I mean, kids can hear a phrase, on the playground, around the neighborhood, and not know, what that means. And they don't want to say, I don't know what that means. And, but then they later on go look it up. And then there's some that are, a little bit, like they might be innocent. Yeah. Apparently in the, the BMX biking world, there's either a biking group or something called the Kinks. So maybe they're just looking up BMX biking and they type in kink, and now there's other stuff that's going to show up. Okay, so that was what came up first. Now we're in the 13th article, the best sex toys for you based on your love language. And so these 10 to 13, 11 to 14-year-olds, if they click on that article, are going to get an article that actually lists websites where you can purchase sex toys. There's a number of links. They weren't hot. I'll give them credit for that, because a 11 to 14-year-old does not know how to copy and paste a link into a new browser. So they're safe, right?
Oh, you'd be surprised what they're capable of doing with copying and pasting, and they're doing it at 8 years old. What
Okay,
shocks me is
yeah, I
the
know.
description above, and then tells you who sells it, tells you the price of it, and then shows you where to buy it.
Yeah,
If
this
that's
is
not
inappropriate.
overstepping a parent, yeah, that's talk about ripping something away from a parent. I'm Again, you guys know I'm nervous and I've announced it again. This is not appropriate for children. She's blurred out a lot for adults in a YouTube room that she's trying to educate. And yet here I'm sitting going, oh my God, just the stuff we're showing adults.
Yeah, yeah, this isn't fun for me, but I'm appalled that they're not protecting our kids from this. And I can't just sit back and say someone ought to fight this. So
Yeah,
now
we
we're
can't.
going to go in and we're going to say, why are you doing this?
Yeah, she's not
Anyway,
reading
the
this.
next slide, I'll just leave it up for a second because it's pictures of sex toys from one of these, this one, probably this first link. And I think it's the home page, but that's what they'll see.
That's the homepage.
Yep. And then more on this website is books. So if you look across the top of it, it lists different sex toys, and then there's a link for books. And I don't know, just look at some of the titles on those books. You think kids should see that? The next page is another link that was in that article. And that title is the name of that website, but that's on the homepage of that website. So I think that's pornographic. I think that's obscene. I don't want my kid tripping across that.
Is it pornographic? Look at the middle. Look at the name of the one in the center.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't even, hold on, y'all. Hold on. It's getting
Okay. I think we're still at Monroe. This was more articles that was just under sex toy. And the next one is this article, Her Sex Secrets Revealed. All right, I don't know if you can read it. It's just inappropriate stuff. It's S&M. It's what you get if you clicked on that link for that article, and completely inappropriate content. And then that's another article that comes up. Let's talk about sex toys. And if you click on that article in PDF form, it takes you to the first page of the article and the pictures. Okay. That was Monroe Middle School. Now we go to Anoka Middle School, and we just kind of randomly picked 6 different, 2 elementary, 2 middle. If you click on the academics tab, you see that it says Library Media Center. If you click on that, it says EBSCO main page. And once again, if you're having trouble logging in, go to eLibrary. This time, we typed in toy industry. So a little bit more of a benign search. Maybe a middle school kid is going to do a book report on the toy industry. Right.
Yeah, like Elmo or Big Bird.
Mm-hmm. And so the one of the articles that comes up, I think I got that backwards, but it says, let's talk about sex toys. That was the previous slide. The 13 most influential toys of all time. See, that's probably fine. And then out of the blue, you get this garbage. Okay. Notice if I type in sex ed in middle school, this Davy Wavy is, I think was like number 6 or 10. It was not first like it showed up in the elementary search. If you type in gay sex, it comes up as number 1. This time it came up, I think, as number 6 under searching under sex ed. But still showing up this time in middle school.
And you know what I noticed the previous slide under section, it said chill, CHILL in all caps. And that's an easy thing to teach children. We'll look for the chill page.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wonder what it would happen if you look for CHILL under the search term, because that's where there's apparently a section, and that's where that keep. Keep
So
on here.
that article about Davy Wavy comes from the Advocate. This is a periodical that should not be included in EBSCO at all. And it's a hot link. So if you look on the left side, it tells you when you click on details about that article, it tells you, well, the article comes from the Advocate, you know, what year, what month, and then who's the publisher, and it's a hot link. Now I'm just showing you one page on the Advocate. If you go to the Advocate website and you click on photographs, oh my gosh, you know, maybe they're not explicitly pornographic, but not appropriate. But I clicked on this article, Lope Navo's insanely hot images. I got a screen on top of a screen here. Are a cure for cabin fever. And it says right there, this image contains graphic content. If you click on it, had to click on a couple, just like, what are we dealing with here? Just naked men grabbing their private parts. This is inappropriate. So harmful. A kid who trips upon stuff like this can be traumatized. So anyway, not the right magazine to have in their database, certainly not the right kind of pictures to have in their database, but kids can access this in schools in Minnesota and schools across the country. All right, that was 2 middle schools. Then we went to Blaine High School. Same thing. Clicked on academics. They give you the e-resources. When you click on that, it takes you to Anoka Hennepin schools. You know, funny, Anoka Hennepin didn't offer that information to us, that they actually are running these general search links, even though the schools seem to have their own login. But if you click on e-resources, they're all taking you to Anoka Hennepin's district site. Okay, just a couple of, I'm trying to think look at what was the term that I put in. I can't remember what it was, and I don't see it. Couple of things to point out. One is Cosmopolitan magazine showing up in these search engines. And I'll tell you why Cosmopolitan is not where you want your middle school kid hanging out. But there's this first article, Vote These Dudes Nude. So, you know, it's from Cosmopolitan magazine, and it takes a survey. Which of these, you know, young men would you vote to, you know, be photographed nude? Sex and the
Does it
Cosmo
say
World.
vote these dudes nudes?
Yeah. Vote These Dudes Nude. That's the name of the article.
Didn't it used to be a crime to subject children to this?
Yeah.
And now schools are pushing it?
Well, they're not protecting them from it. And EBSCO isn't either. EBSCO, you know, they say they've cleaned it up. The National Center on Sexual Exploitation has worked with EBSCO. They say they've cleaned it up, but I just did these searches last weekend. So this is current. The last video that we did on the Child Protection League YouTube page is from February, maybe, but I just did these last weekend. So this is current. The Cosmopolitan Lust Survey. Yeah, I want my 12-year-old taking that. So if you go to Cosmopolitan magazine, and you'll see on the screen on the left-hand side, they have a category that says sex and relationships. And so if you go to that category, you'll see all of this.
Yeah, Cosmopolitan is not the place for kids.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, not a place for kids to hang out. So content inappropriate. Look at that picture on the right. Look at that propaganda. I mean, is that a kid in that picture? That could be a teenager, right? Tell me who that's geared toward.
I don't even know what to say. I'm still stuck on the third picture over. Like, I don't even know what to say.
All right.
Wow.
Okay, that's further down. That's more from that page. Here's Cosmopolitan, more. You know, I can't even read these titles. I just have a sense of, you know, propriety. I don't want to read this stuff. I don't want to say this stuff out loud. I don't care what people do in the privacy of their bedroom. We're talking about children here.
Yeah, that's another thing I was going to highlight. When you become an adult and you reach the age of 18 and you want to make decisions about your life, you go for it. But when you're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, I'll even say years old, it should be a discussion between you and your parents.
Yeah.
I mean, this to
you know
me
what
is
happens,
mind-blowing.
You know, we know the dangers that happen to children when they accidentally come across porn. It can affect them for the rest of their life.
Yeah, they're so impressionable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like we discussed before the show, I told her about the tongue rings and belly piercings. And then that's now you see Travis stock shooting up 300% for the people, the transgender enrollees, and trans trending become a thing. And then you go back to the previous slide and you wonder, why is everybody thinking that they're, you know, pansexual? I don't know. Maybe because they're pushing it in school because it's the trendy thing to be.
Yeah. And I understand, folks, that the culture is pretty depraved in a lot of ways, that they're running across this in pop culture, on TV, in the movies, you know, in other places, you know, that they go. And that's a parent's responsibility. And it's a hard, difficult task to try to protect your children from that. And that's on you, parents. And I know the burden of that because I have kids. But we're talking about when your kids are in school. You have a right to expect that school is protecting them, and they're claiming they are. And frankly, depending how deep you want to go down the rabbit hole, you're going to find that some of this stuff they're just not aware of, and they're appalled about it. And then there's some people who think kids should be exposed to this because they think kids need this information. And then there's some who know exactly what's going on, and they have an ulterior motive. They have an ideology to destroy our country, and they know, like I said in last week's video, that they can do that by sexualizing the children. So it just depends, you know, how deep we are into the quagmire, right? Most teachers, you know, school administrators, they might have an attitude like, no, kids should have sex ed. I don't agree with that because sex ed nowadays is obscene. But they just have a difference of opinion. I think it's misguided, but their hearts are in the right place. But the people who are deliberately exposing children to this, their hearts are not in the right place. They're either doing it because they want future clients, you know, they are doing it for money, or they're doing it because they are subversive, and they know, like William Reich said in the 1940s, that Marxist from Austria, this is how you take down society. You sexualize the children. So it just depends where you want to go.
I've always said it's about indoctrination more so than education at this point.
Yeah.
And why is there an R17 rating on movies?
Right.
I mean, what's that about? So you demand a parent to make that call that they're not 17 so they can't go see an R-rated movie, but in school they're teaching you about it when you're 8, 9.
Yeah. So here we have an article called "The Ultimate Guide to Sex Toys." In that article, inappropriate content, but it lists Durex, which is a sex toy and condom company. And I'm trying to see if I see their website here. I don't see it in that slide. But if you go to their webpage, oh no, there was another link in that article or another article itself that right there in the article, it says adamandeve.com. Right. So they're right there.
I want to, and let me say this real quick, but let me say this to YouTube. If they want to say anything to this program that's going on, I will direct you to the amount of people you have on YouTube that uses this as your sponsor. The amount of people that are sponsored by Adam and Eve come at me.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
yes. Oh,
Wow.
yes. What do you think the most highly viewed videos on YouTube are? They're the beauty gurus. You know, the majority of the beauty gurus are transgender. And again, guys, I don't have a problem with what you do in your own life as an adult. But it's amazing to me that if you look in the suggested thread over with them, it is all this stuff. It is. I mean, it is. And right now, what's going on with that little organization is they're all being called out for being pedophiles. That's the truth. Now, whatever cesses out in that little pool of people, I don't know. But again, they have these people as sponsors on this platform. So,
wow. Well, this picture, this slide shows you Explora, that this article is right within the database of EBSCO's content. It's their stuff showing up, and so that's from Blaine. Champlain Park High School, same thing. We went to the same links, but this time, since every example that I've shown you is from EBSCO, I want to finish by showing you an example from Gale. Gale is a company just like EBSCO. They provide subscription services to schools for data research for students, and they're no better. So this time we went to Gale. So you see their product here is called Gale in Context, and what was my search term? I searched condoms. So we're in a high school database for Gale in Context, and we search condoms. And one of the articles that comes up is Durex pushes all the right buttons. Now, I want to point out this is from PR Newswire. PR Newswire isn't bad. You know, they're a public relations. I mean, you know, people use them to put out press releases. And so this is a press release from Durex showing up in a high school database. And there's the link to Durex.com right within the article. And that's the page. And I just want you to be aware of these things, how to prepare for your first time. Is this geared toward young people? Yeah, this is in the high school. Another article, 5 sex positions to try for your first time.
Look at the middle one. Oh my God, the middle one.
Yeah.
You said the first one. I'm looking at the middle one.
Yeah. Then we're still under the condom search term, and another article comes up from that says porn industry turned off by LA mandate for condoms on set. And this is from All Things Considered, so NPR, right? Okay, so we go to this article. And I want to point out that the article is whatever, but on the right side, they give you related links. So teens in this case, I don't know, can click on other hot links here that will take them to info. And notice that they have pornography listed. I think that's what we clicked on. Yep, so we go to pornography, and on the right-hand side, you can see in the, other links for more information, it says erotic periodicals. So we clicked on that. And that took us to this article, Playboy Magazine's November issue, blah, blah, blah. So we clicked on that article. Sure enough, right in the article is a link, and it's a hot link to Playboy. Now, when we clicked on it, Gale gave us a disclaimer because, this really works. Their disclaimer saying, hey, if you click on this link, it's going to take you outside of Gale. Now, they led kids directly to this link. And now they think this is okay. Like, no, we're not going to hold you accountable, Gale or EBSCO, when you do stuff like this.
That's the only reason why they do that's for legal reasons. Yeah. They know that people are going to click that, but they can say legal reasons we put up the warning.
Yeah.
Which they know that's not protecting children. They're applications you can use to tone down your content. You know it and I know it, and they're subverting it right there.
If you click on the link, this is the home page for Playboy. I don't have to really say anything more about it. Another article that came up when we typed in condom on Gale was this adamandeve.com asks this question. That's the title of the article. It has their website right in the title. When we clicked on the link in that article and to go to adamandeve.com, it says, okay, if you want to enter our website, you got to be 18. This is one page from their website. You can kind of see across the top the different categories that they have to offer. So bondage is one of them. So I want you to know they have adult movies on this website.
Don't worry, you'll get a free waterproof pocket massager. Don't worry. I mean, like,
yeah, and notice that on these porn flicks, it says watch now. So you can, they're going to ask for you to set up an account, but you don't have to buy that movie to watch clips from that movie. You can watch it right now. So now they've lured kids right into online pornography videos.
I don't even, like, what do you say?
Mm-hmm.
It's shocking enough to silence you.
Yeah. I just invite and encourage anybody to just go to your e-library system, go to your kids' school website, and try it for yourself. And
this is the part where you said you were going to kind of tell people what to do, and that's part of it.
Yep. Yeah. So the first thing, we got the proof, right? We got evidence that this is happening. And we want to see the contracts that the school has with EBSCO. We want to know what they're paying and what those contracts say, because sometimes we have found the schools say that EBSCO doesn't do this, or that EBSCO cleans it up, or that the school filters it out. And so we want to see what the contract says with EBSCO, because if EBSCO is telling the schools you can't manipulate this content at all, which we have seen is in other states is what the contract says. We want to see what it says in Minnesota, because how can they say it's not filtering it out when EBSCO is saying you can't filter it out because you can't mess with the content. We own the content in these databases. And then companies like adamandeve.com and Playboy maybe, and they now I wouldn't say those companies like The Advocate, Slate magazine, these periodicals then are paying EBSCO to populate these databases with their magazines. And that's why they're showing up. It's not just the obscene material either. There's a lot of left-wing, a lot of radical propaganda that I'm told, and this is going to be our next project, is to go in and see, what happens if you type in Black Lives Matter? What is there a bias in what shows up? And so that's a future project.
And then what Kip said out in chat, they said too, what may be downloaded with the site's malware to keep track of your child's activity.
Could be. I have no idea if there's any protection in EBSCO's platform that prevents malware or anything like that.
That's a good
point. Yeah, it's a good point. So the first thing that you want to do is do the investigation yourself and start looking. The second is you want to take screenshots of it, or take a video of you actually clicking on the links and going through the process so you have evidence of it. And then, then, you know, get a group of people together, so you're not alone, and go to the school board, you know, or make an appointment to see the superintendent and tell them that you're concerned about this, and you want them to clean it up.
Well,
There are some next steps that, you know, this isn't the appointment that we're going to make with the superintendent is not the end of the line, but this is where we're at right now in this project. So what I'd like to do is come back on, you know, probably in a month or two, and tell you what we did next, because I don't want to, in case this gets back to the school, put our plans out there. We have about 4 more steps in this project that we are going to engage in, and I'll be able to come back and basically give you a template, you know, for how to pursue this stuff. How do you make a FOIA request? How do you follow up? And then what do you do? You know, if you get the runaround like we did, what do you do with that information once you get it? So Laura, you know, I'll end here on that note, unless you have more questions, but
I just have
this is a to be continued project.
Well, number one, you know, you're always welcome here. You know that. As long as I have this platform, you are always welcome on it, because this to me is important information that I believe everyone with a parent or knows somebody with a child should know. They should know how to go into their e-library. The one question I had is we pointed out EBSCO a lot tonight and then got into Gale. Is there any others? Is it EBSCO and Gale? Is there another one people should look for?
No, those are the 2 main ones. But I had sent you a link from a website called Porn Is Not Education.
Yeah.
On YouTube there, so the acronym for that is PINE, right? PINE. Their YouTube channel, maybe you can link from that website. I gave you the link to the website, but they did a number of videos on Gale. We are just now starting to dig into Gale here in Minnesota, but they have already dug into it, and I used one of her examples on how she got to Playboy, but she has a number of other examples. So Gale is another company, totally different from EBSCO, but they provide the same kind of service, and so it's we have to gather more evidence for Minnesota, but both of them need to be looked into in your state.
Well, I have dropped the links out there, and ironically, you'll see the last one, the one that she's referring to, it won't post as a hot link. So you'll have to type it in there, and it's probably because the wording of the actual link, they probably thought of that. The first one I put in, and it's what it says, pornographyeducation.org is not education.org, is not. You'll have to put that in there, guys, yourself. And then if you want to, we can talk a little bit about part 3, which is next week, which is a social emotional learning, I believe we decided upon. Yeah. If you want to maybe give everybody a little taste of what next week will be about.
So this is social emotional learning is maybe not such a bad thing in and of itself. It's using, you know, emotion in teaching. It's it conceptually maybe could be used for good purposes if what you're doing with social emotional learning aligns with the values of the parents of the kids you're teaching. But if they aren't, then this is brainwashing. And so it won't have anything necessarily to do with, you know, sex ed or obscene material. It has to do with a way that they teach. Social emotional learning is a buzzword in education. A lot of educators are hot on it. They think it's great. And what we're going to show you is how they use it to manipulate minds, when the ideology behind what they're teaching, the ideology behind how they're using this does not generally align with the values of parents, and how it does align with the very subversive, revolutionary war that we are engaged in as a culture and as a country. So that presentation, I think, is about 30 or 40 minutes long. It's actually a video that I'm going to play of one of my colleagues doing the presentation.
Mhm.
And then we can, stop it and discuss it and or take questions when we're done.
Okay, and I'm going to try to work around this because they are not going to silence this channel. And if you'll stop screen sharing really quick, I'm going to grab it from you, or I can just probably do it. Yeah, I'll grab it from you. Where's my Discord, which is right here. I'm going to show you our internal Discord. This is the one we have open for everybody to join. This is where she sent me the links. If you'll see this one right here, this is the one they're trying to hide from me in chat. This is the one that you'll have to go and look for yourself. I'm going to highlight it here and I'm going to leave it up here for a second. This is the one apparently I can't even post in chat. This bottom one right here. Everybody see it?
Yeah, that website was started by a mom. Her name is Dr. Robin Patterson. She has a PhD in something. She's a research, I think works at one of the Colorado universities, or did. She just happened to have, her daughter left her iPad at home one day, and the mom decided to take a look. And she just went in, she found EBSCO. She decided to type in sex, and she was appalled. And that's how she discovered, that's how she discovered what's going on with EBSCO. Her and a group of people actually sued Cherry Creek School District, and their story is probably on that website. And they got Cherry Creek School District to cancel all of their EBSCO products. And then they started digging into Gale, and oh my goodness, they're doing the same thing. So they're still battling stuff. And now Robin is helping people all across the country. Isn't that how it works sometimes? She's out of the blue discovered this, and here she was in the thick of it. But now she's helping parents in other states, and organizations like the National Center on Sexual Exploitation to fight it.
Well, this community can completely relate. Look how I met you.
Mm-hmm.
We were just a bunch of patriots all around the world that wanted to be able to connect and share information. And that is how I met you. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for a lot of the people that support us here at this channel.
Too.
We wouldn't have grown without their help because trust me, this platform's not helping us. And
so childprotectionleague.com is the website. And if people dig into stuff and they need our help, just go to childprotectionleague.com and contact me through the website.
Yeah, she's very, 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 very helpful. Always has been.
We'll help you fight it if we can.
Yeah, and I like always, after it uploads, I'll go back in and try to drop some of these links under the description. It seems like they're hiding that one from us. So I'll do everything I can to even type it out and put spaces if I need to. Because if that's a mother, then she's on the right side. She's going to fight for that kid. So
that's right.
And with that, I just really do appreciate you being here. I know that this content's shocking, guys. Trust me, it's shocking for me. But imagine how it is for kids. That's what's sad, is that we're sitting here with our mouth hanging open going, I can't believe we're seeing this or sharing this. Or imagine how that is for children. We're adults.
We have a choice, to a certain extent, and we have maturity to be able to do whatever is needed mentally to stop that. But a kid doesn't. They don't have that maturity.
And then
they can get stuck really deep before they realize, that they're in trouble.
Faith Matheson's chat, she said, do you know about Vets for Child Rescue? Are you familiar with that organization, Vets for Child Rescue?
I think so. Is that Craig Sawyer's group?
I don't know if that's the name of his. It could be. We had him on a few weeks back. I got him on. But there's just several organizations that are trying. That was the one that encouraged me about this president. Is one of the first things he did when he took office was trying to shut down human trafficking. And I was like, okay, we're going to protect these kids. Yes. And I was like, what's Betsy DeVos doing? What's Betsy DeVos doing, right? Because I'm on the track of let's protect the children that are coming over from the border that are being trafficked. Let's protect the ones in this country that go missing every year, 400 million. What is it, 400,000 a year?
Yeah.
And then let's see what happens to education.
I don't know how accurate that is, but I have heard that number. Hey, which reminds me, when you go to the Child Protection League website and sign up for our email address, our email updates, you're not going to get bombarded. We don't share your stuff. We're just a bunch of parents, right? And we're just going to, we send out maybe a couple a month, but we'll keep you informed on this stuff. And one of our recent emails told people how they could go to we gave you an email address for somebody at the U.S. Department of Education to notify them about EBSCO because they're willing to look into it. And so we and a bunch of other people said, all right, well, let's make sure that they get enough requests from people across the country for them to justify investigating it. So I'm optimistic that Betsy DeVos is investigating EBSCO now, but we'll see. It's just started in the last month or two, but they know about it. And in the meantime, get it out of your schools. Work at the school level where you really have some power because you're a taxpayer and you can vote those people off the school board and you can expose them where it really matters in the community where you live. That's where you have the most power. So start at the school level. It'll work its way up, but that's where we really have to do our work, is cleaning stuff up right here where we live.
And I want you to just reiterate what you said to me also before we started this. And she made a very, very good point. She said, the president can help. The president can put us on the path, but it takes us, it takes the parents to speak out. He can't do everything. She says,
Right.
We have to help.
And right. Yeah, we've heard, Breitbart said it, Steve Bannon said it, Q said it, right? They're not going to give you back your country. You're going to have to fight to take it back. Especially those people, the Trump administration is doing, almost miraculous work in trying to dismantle the machinery of this revolution, this revolution to destroy our country. And he's doing everything he can to dismantle that machinery. But when that's dismantled, what will your community look like? If a lot of people go to jail, if a lot of people are exposed, and some of them are in public office, somebody has to step forward to get on those to hold those positions. And generally they tend to come up from city council, school board, county commissioner, and then they go up to the state level, and then they go to the federal level. So there's a lot of crooks in the pipeline. And so as we watch this and work to help expose that and take it down, we're going to have to step in and get some good American patriotic, family loving people in those offices. Otherwise, in a matter of time, we'll have lost it again.
Exactly. And I think with that, guys, we are going to end it. We're a little over an hour now. And just again, don't forget, next Thursday, we'll be back for the social emotional learning part 3 of this series. And is your child safe? And to me, this is one of the most important things I've done in the 2.5 years I've been doing this. It's always been about the kids for me. And to me, you're one of the most important relationships I've formed during this. And I mean that when I say it.
Thank you.
You don't just preach it, you teach it, and you put your boots on the ground, Michelle. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You really do try to protect these kids. And so you'll always have a place here as long as I do.
Yep. We need more warriors on the front line.
So. Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Thanks, and with that, you're welcome. With that, we're going to sign off. We will see you next Thursday.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.